Alright, before we begin, I want to start by giving an intro to an intro. If you want to skip this, here's a timestamp, but you might find this video a little bit confusing if you do. Okay, so in 2021, Iceberg videos were on the rise. Also in 2021, I was religiously reading anything Snicket. The year before, during quarantine, to I guess ignore the present, I reread every single series of Unfortunate Events book, I reread every single All the Wrong Questions book, and binged the show with my relative. So if these two things colliding, I made my own Snicket Iceberg and posted it on Reddit using an account that's now been hacked by a scammer and deleted. I was never planning on making it into a video because just look at this. I intentionally made a section full of nothing as a joke, but due to being asked multiple times to make one, I did. Now, I made this video, uploaded it, and got way more views than I usually get. But as the months went on, I found myself less and less happy with the video, falling into that trap most people have with their old work. Then I thought, why not just update it, and began work on the video in December of 2023. Yeah, I've been working on this for a while. During editing this very video, I found out that a YouTube channel called Exits Examine made their own LS Iceberg. I talked with them briefly in a comment section, and they said that it was okay for me to go on making this video. So no one is plagiarizing anyone or anything, it's just a coincidence. Things like this happen in media all the time. Now, mine and Exit's videos are a bit different, as his focuses more on fan theories and mine focuses less on those. I'm not saying that this makes one better than the other, just saying that Exit's video and my video are two different beasts. Vomiting beasts, if you like. My video is going to be more friendly to people just getting into the series and be a bit more comical, as these are comedy books, right? Again, no hate on Exits. Check out their video after you're done with mine. I've linked it in the description. Anyways, this is an updated version of a video I made in 2021, essentially 4 years ago. What I'm going to do is add more things and change the things I don't like. For example, the audio I recorded in 2021 is now remixed. Now, a lot has changed in those 3 years, and one of the things is my mic. It's a lot better now. So if one port has clearer audio than another port, you'll know why. A little green text will appear in the corner for a few seconds to let you know. Also, for those listening, I'll throw in my clapping. Also, keep in mind, every time you see a zoom out of the iceberg, not everything that I will cover in this video will be on it. Oh yeah, also, I'm releasing this video on the 20th anniversary of the 2004 Lemony Snicket film adaptation, so happy 20th anniversary to that film, I guess. Anyways, let's begin. Iceberg videos have been rising in popularity on YouTube, so I decided to make my own. So without further ado, let's get into this. A series of Unfortunate Events books 1 through 13. These books need no introduction. They have a great blend of comedy, mystery, drama, and adventure. The 2004 movie. The series of Unfortunate Events 2004 movie adaptation adapts the first 3 books in the series. The movie's script was going to be written by Lemony Snicket, but his script went unused. The film features such stars as Jim Carrey and Meryl Streep. The movie won an Academy Award for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. It was such a success, making $3.1 million on its opening weekend, although the movie never got any sequels. Netflix adaptation. Netflix is a series of Unfortunate Events adaptation. It's a show that went on from 2017 to 2019. Unlike the movie, it adapts all the books in the series. The show takes its time, and every book, except the last one, has 2 episodes based on them. It's a pretty good adaptation, but changes things when needed. All the Wrong Questions books 1 through 14. Here we go, something I have read. So these books are prequels to A Series of Unfortunate Events books. I really don't want to spoil anything, so just go read the books yourself. Letters to Beatrice. This is just kinda a companion book to the end. It's definitely the weirdest nigga book to just casually read. Just come on, look at this. Just like another book on your computer's turned at times. It's not bad. Definitely recommend it. The Curious Parlor Game. This is a Series of Unfortunate Events themed board game. Like most of the things here I don't have, or in this case haven't played. Just check out this guy, Pilot Parley Gaming's review on the game. Link in the description. 13 Words. This is one in many small children's books made by Lemony. I haven't read any of them, but judging by the covers and pictures I have seen, I don't think these books have any connection to the A Series of Unfortunate Events universe. The 2004 movie tie-in game. This game is obviously based on the 2004 movie.
The game is on PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube, PC, and Game Boy Advance. The game follows the movie very well. It even got Jim Carrey back to play Count Olaf. I personally haven't played the game yet.
Update, I now have played the GBA game, and it certainly was a platformer released to tie into a film. Brett Hellquist. This is the guy who has done the classic illustrations for the books and the covers during the 90s and 2000s. Also, he appears as a character within the universe of Snicket, as he's mentioned in a few letters to the editor, and according to the unauthorized biography, he was at the burnt-down Baudelaire mansion sketching before Violet, Klaus, and Sonny got there.
The unauthorized biography. Here we go. A book I have read. But the unauthorized biography doesn't really tell a story. It does at some points, but most of the time it just feels like you're flipping through someone's notes. I found the book a bit confusing at some points, but who knows, maybe that's just my dumb brain not being able to understand.
Dumb adults. This is just a common criticism with the ASOUE saga, that most of the adults are just plain unhelpful. During an interview for a kids magazine, Ellis was asked, "In your books, the adults always seem to be stupid and not know what's going on. Do you think adults are that way in real life too?" Which we replied with, "Sadly, most everyone, adult and child, is that way." Special editions. Many editions of Snicket books have been made over the years. The special ones I have are these 2007 paperback editions of the first 4 books. They have all this extra art in the back, are designed to look like they're from the 20s and have alternate titles. What's interesting here is that these paperbacks came out in 2007 with only the first 4 books. The other books have never or have yet to be released like this, so this is why my shelf looks like that. Poison for Breakfast. To end our little talk of the spin-off books, here's the latest book by a boy. Now, I like this book, but some of you who've read it might be scratching your head on why I brought this up, as it's not really tied to the universe as well as the other ones. Well, there's this page, and that's about it. No adaptations to other Snicket books have been planned yet.
So, Netflix has not really planned any adaptations to the other Lemony Snicket books, like All the Wrong Questions and such. I'm sure Netflix or whoever will make an adaptation one day, but not today.
Quick update on this one. For a while, there was an article going around claiming Netflix was working on an All the Wrong Questions adaptation, but it's been proven false by fans. So we still don't know if we're gonna get one or not.
DVD director's commentary to the 2004 movie. Okay, this is a good one. In the DVD and Blu-ray to the 2004 movie, on the disc, there's a director's commentary, but not just any director's commentary. In this one, Lemony Snicket himself appears to criticize the movie.
Why would you make such a film?
By accident. We certainly headed out with...
You accidentally pointed a camera in the direction of actors who were reciting dialogue about terrible things? I find that very hard to believe.
As I understood his character from your books, he's an omniscient, quite remarkably thoughtful, well-read man who...
I don't think you've read these books at all. Which, on one hand, is good for your emotional health, but on the other hand, if you're actually trying to recreate what actually happened to the Baudelaires, this film would be 10 times worse if it followed the correct story.
That's probably true.
I'm grateful that the bad beginning was truncated, so there's no wedding or theatrical performance, and that the reptile room also was made quite short, and that finally the story of the wide window, I hope, is so short that it is about to be over.
It's really funny just hearing Lemony Snicket make fun of the movie while the director tries poorly to defend it. 13. 13 is a reoccurring number within Lemony Snicket books. 13 is series of virtual events books, 13 chapters in every book except the last one, and 13 has appeared in titles to some of the other Lemony Snicket books. A lot of people have asked why 13. Well, here's my theory. 13 is known as an unlucky number. It's the reason why some buildings skip 13 when counting their floors, or like how Friday the 13th is known as an unlucky day. Lemony lives in Britain. In the final chapter of the unauthorized biography, there's a picture of the London Bridge with the caption, "Great? Britain?" This could mean Snicket lives in Britain, or who knows, it could just be him visiting. www.lemonysnicket.com. This is an official website about Lemony Snicket. It has some information on the books, information on the creator, a series on unfortunate events, the imprintable games, and trailers. It's nothing to write home about, but if you're a fan of Lemony Snicket, you'll probably get a kick out of it.
Religious references. Thanks for JillCODK467 for recommending this one in the comments of the original edit. These books are no stranger to referencing other books and historical events, and the Bible is no exception. Now, I'm no Bible scholar, but I have noticed some symbolism. The island of Book 13 being reminiscent of the Garden of Eden, Ishmael having Jesus-like followers, and Adam and Eve like Apple, but in reverse. Again, I'm no Bible scholar, so there's probably way more. One thing I noticed while we were reading all the books for this video are all the historical/literary references that are intentionally designed to fly over the heads of kids. Very few kids would know this is a reference to this. Reoccurring story points. I'm not going to stay on here too long because I'm pretty sure if you're this far into this video, you know what I'm talking about. You know, just by think off the top of my head, there's all of Sky's Fights, Hair Ribbon, and Classes mentions. Box sets. Like most book series, these books have had box sets. The one that most fans point to is the complete Rex set, with art with the tree from book 13. I also found this cool spine art set that I'll mention here. School bans. The first book has been banned from several schools over the years for the underage marriage ordeal. It is debatable if this should have happened, as we know Olaf just wanted to have that marriage for only money. Also, this is a slight nod in the unauthorized biography, which we will get to later on this Iceberg. Looney and Setnik. If you have a hardcover edition of the unauthorized biography and flip over the dust jacket, you'll see this, a kind of alternate universe version of a Snicket book. While just being a fun joke, it has gone on to have a few cameos in the Netflix show. Mr. Poskov. Mr. Poskov has been a main part of the character. We don't know how he got it, but it has been said that he has had it since he was a kid. Sir's face. Sir is a character introduced in the Miserable Mill. In the books, you don't see his face, as it is covered by smoke from his cigarettes, but in the Netflix show, you can see his face. I couldn't find a clear reason on why they changed this, but I'm going to guess there are either storytelling restrictions or it being too hard to shoot using fake or real smoke. Naming schemes. For some reason, every book title starts with "the" and has two words both beginning with the same letter. Even things named like this appear in the books, like The Marvelous Marriage, for example. Letter to editor. At the end of every book, you can see a letter to the editor. Some of these are more readable than others, but all of them contain foreshadowing on the next book, or in one book's case, something else contained in the book. Character names. In an interview, Daniel Handler is quoted on saying, "I also thought it would be interesting to devise a setting for a book that is somewhat ambiguous. Violet is a fairly British name, Klaus is a fairly German name, Sunny is a fairly American name, and Olaf is a fairly Scandinavian name, and that creates a certain amount of confusion." Also, some of his character names are references. Like, to name a few, the name Baudelaire is a reference to Charles Baudelaire, a poet. Georgina Orwell is not a George Orwell, and this man has a character called QWERTY. Let that sink in. He named a character after the keyboard layout. Audiobooks and an album. The series has had multiple audiobooks made over the years, using multiple readers. The fan favorite ones are the Tim Curry narrated audiobooks, who has narrated all the books except for books 3, 4, and 5, those being instead read by Snicket himself. Speaking of audio, the Gothic Archies, the same people who made music for audiobooks of Snicket, released a full album with singing and not just instrumentals dedicated to these books, with Snicket himself playing accordion. The album has 13 tracks, each of which feeling like a theme song to each corresponding novel. Also 2 bonus tracks, one being another song dedicated to the book Cornelius Carnival, which was supposed to be its song but got changed out with another one. I was going to pick a CD of this album up for the video, but it's a little bit out of the budget right now. Thankfully, you can listen to it on YouTube and Spotify if you want. Also, did you guys know that the Bad Beginning Tim Curry audiobook is just on vinyl? I don't know who asked for this, but I like it. Guys read. Guys Weed is a web-based program that encourages young boys to weed. In 2005, the program released a book called Guys Write for Guys Weed. In this book, you get a compilation of essays from male authors and male illustrators. So there's essays from Gary Paulson, Christopher Poloni, Neil Gaiman, Lloyd Alexander, Stephen King, and of course, Daniel Handler. You also get an essay from his illustrator Brett Hellquist, where he talks about an illustration he did for the Series of Unfortunate Events book, The Carnivorous Carnival. Daniel wasn't done providing for these books, as over a decade later in 2017, he would provide a short story for a Guys Read book called Heroes and Villains under his name Lemony Snicket. The story is called Hero of the Story, that follows a young Snicket that takes place after the All the One Questions novels, with him having to look after a baby because a mother spilled tea on the baby's carriage. If you want to read the story, I highly suggest you find it and read it for yourself, as it's pretty good, and saying anything else about the plot here would pretty much ruin the whole experience. 13 Shocking Secrets You'll Wish You Never Knew About Lemony Snicket. This is a pamphlet in promotion for Book 13, distributed through Lemony Snicket's website and a HarperCollins mailing list in 2006. The pamphlet, as the title points out, gives out 13 facts about Snicket's life, with the 13th fact only being readable after inserting circled letters from previous pages. It gives out parts of Snicket's life not explored in the book set. For example, Shocking Secret number 6 is Lemony Snicket attended boarding school, which fans have theorized is about how Snicket attended Prufrock Prep when he was a child. It also contains a family tree at the start, though with some errors, and the pamphlet ends with a release date of Book 13. Dismal Dinner. While we're on the topic of short little writings made to promote things, here's the Dismal Dinner, or its full title, Mysterious Messages Concerning the Dismal Dinner. That, as you can tell by looking at the images, was made to promote the 2004 movie. This is a mini-series with 4 parts that was released with Lunchables meals. The story in these books are about Violet, Klaus, and Sunny attending the quote-unquote fourth-to-last dinner at the Baudelaire mansion before it burned down, making the story actually take place before the events of the bad beginning. The 4 parts are the same story told in different perspectives. The first 3 are the perspectives of each Baudelaire child, with the 4th being the story as is. Parts 3 and 4 briefly mention a sugar bowl, though it's never been confirmed if this is the same sugar bowl that's introduced in Book 6. This miniseries does appear to be actually written by Daniel Handler, and some fans have said that it is canon because of that fact. The Lunchables promotion ended long ago, so picking up a physical copy of these is a bit harder nowadays. Thankfully, it's readable at certain other places, like the Lemony Snicket Fandom Wiki. Also, you know how Snicket's books always saying Dear Reader? Well, these short stories instead say Dear Eater, which gave me a really big win the first time I saw it. VFD. VFD is a secret organization introduced in the 5th book in the series. The organization is known for the mysteriousness surrounding them, their eye logo, their codes, and their strange ways of recruiting. Heck, they're so mysterious and so tied to things that the song playing in the background is probably related to them in some way. Wink wink. But for real, I don't really want to go into major spoilers for this video for reasons I'll get into later, so I'll end here.
The Incomplete History of Secret Organizations. In the Netflix show, there's a book called The Incomplete History of Secret Organizations. We never get to see what's inside the book. Also, there's a real book with the same name. I don't have the book, but looking at pictures, it's just a book discussing the Netflix series.
Lemony Snicket references in game shows. On the Reddit subreddit r/a series of unfortunate events,
Some user named Snicket667 found some references to Lemony Snicket in some game shows and quiz shows. These shows are The Chase and $1 Million Minute.
Weird TV spot. So I'm going to start this by asking you, yes you, a question. How do you market a film? Well, first things first, you should probably show it. Well, the 2004's marketing crew had different ideas. Here, we have a TV spot that begins with a boy drinking soup, then finding a band-aid or something in it, throws it away only for it to hit a chef. The chef spits out her dentures on the plate of a girl, who throws it on the floor for this person to accidentally slip over. He mistakenly triggers a fire alarm, getting water everywhere. Then, we hear a narrator say this. Then we get a clip of the film that was on screen less than the skit. If you were wondering why this looks like this, it's because this is a recording of a TV by Jose Flores. Now, I could not find anything about it online, or even a video in higher quality. I swear I once saw a whip on the fan wiki, but I cannot track that down for this video. I think it was a strange choice to sell a film with footage that's not in it, but okay.
2004 movie is on YouTube for free. Okay, so someone uploaded the entire 2004 movie on YouTube, and Paramount or Nickelodeon, the owners of the movie, haven't taken it down yet at the time of me writing the script. Now, if you want to watch this movie, please buy a DVD or just stream it to support the creators, because this is technically pirating. And pirating is... A series of unfortunate events books exist in the series of unfortunate events universe. In the unauthorized biography, Vice Principal Nero has a list of books he banned. Among these books are a series of unfortunate events, and later in the book, complete pages from the bad beginning and the reptile room are taped in the book.
Time period. Have you ever wondered what time period these books take place in? 40s, 50s, 60s? Well, to answer your question, there really is no direct time period any of the books or adaptations take place in. Daniel Handler has really only said it takes place in the year of the rat. For me, I feel like Neil Patrick Harris summed up why the show and its novels do this best.
Unfortunate events set. It's intentionally an era-less show. We want it to not be modern, so they can't go online or have a cell phone, but we don't want it to be old-timey, so they have to talk like they're from the 40s, see?
Even though, when I think of it, the show had references to the internet, Uber, and Bob Ross of all things, but for some reason you can see people casually use a telegram. I guess it's not one of those things you're supposed to question. Last Chance General Store in 2004 film. In the 2004 film, there's a scene where Olaf locks his car on the train tracks with the Baudelaires inside while he goes into a store. This scene was only made for the film and does not appear in the novels. But what is interesting is that the store Olaf goes into does. In Book 8, and later in the Netflix adaptation of Book 8, the Baudelaires go into the store. It is interesting to see the film subtly reference a book that's not the first three, although we don't see the shopkeeper or Lou. Netflix teaser. In 2014, Netflix had announced they would be making their own adaptation of Unfortunate Events. Little was known at the time as it was very early in development. But on June 2nd, 2015, a channel called Eleanor Poe, named after the minor character from the books, would release a teaser trailer. This video became semi-viral, with people speculating this trailer, until it was revealed in a YouTube comment from the official Netflix account that it was a fake trailer made by fans. Although some fans would come to wonder if that is true, as certain items in this fake trailer would appear a little too close to how they do in the show. Very little is known about the person or team behind it, and the video itself looks a bit too expensive to just be thrown out by a fan. No hate on fans, obviously. Now, I'm not going to say I believe this, but it wouldn't surprise me if Netflix announced that it was made by them. Arthur parody. Yep, you heard that right. Arthur, the PBS show, has parodied the series multiple times. Thanks to the Arthur fandom page, or else I probably would have never known about this. 8 Ball. Snicket's work was never at the same level of popularity as other franchises whose logo can be thrown on everything. But this didn't stop them from making an ASU-themed Magic 8 Ball that has character quotes. Speaking of merchandise, card game. These books have their own card game. Due to time, I'm not going to go over every rule and every card, but I will show you some pretty cool card art I found. I just like seeing these Brent Hellquist or Brent-like drawings colorized. This is just how I imagine a series of unfortunate events would look if it got its own animated show.
Lemony Snicket attended his own burial. In the first chapter of the unauthorized biography, we see the Daily Portinho publishing an article claiming Snicket is dead, though we soon learn that this is not true, as the next few pages are about Snicket himself writing about attending his own fake burial. We're surprised by the amount of people who showed up, and then later sees his own casket get taken away. What I've always wondered was who set up this burial? We only learn it was set up by a possibly unreliable source. So was it VFD trying to draw attention away from him? Was it Snicket himself or some other group? If Snicket wasn't in that coffin, then who or what was? And when in the timeline does this event take place exactly? All questions we'll honestly probably never get answers to. Beatrice plays the theremin. In the Beatrice letters, it is revealed that Beatrice plays the theremin. I don't really have much to add to it, I just thought it was interesting enough to put on here, as it kinda adds to the mystique of the character of Beatrice. What does the S stand for? In the All the Wrong Questions series, we meet Snicket's chaperone, S, the Dora Markson. In the series, it's a recurring event for Snicket to ask what the S stands for, and then get told something beginning with S that's not her first name. There have been some theories over the years about what it stands for,
though in an interview archived on the 667 Dark Avenue, which was a really cool place, check it out if you haven't already, Handler answers a question asking what the S stands for by saying, "Oh, but it's right there in the text. Don't you want to find it for yourself?" Which fans have theorized to be a reference to this line, and why is this night different from all the other nights? The line in question being, "It was a mystery like what the S stood for in Theodora's name. I kept walking, with nothing but solitude for company." Solitude is a fancy name for being all by yourself. It's not a bad name, I thought, meaning that the S stands for solitude. Though, keep in mind, this is all just fan theory, and we might not ever know if that S does stand for solitude or something different. Taking the chill out of Christmas. As it's Christmas, I thought I might throw in a fact that ties into Christmas. Well, I did that, kinda. One of the taglines to the 2004 film adaptation of the series was "Taking the Cheer Out of Christmas." This was because the movie was released in December. Now, I couldn't find a single image of a poster or a magazine ad to back this up. I know it's real, as it's referenced on the Lemony Snicket fandom wiki, which is also a good website you should check out. And that links to an article by Vanity writer Dave McNary that has a small reference to these ads, but I still can't find any photo. I've looked on Google, I've looked on YouTube, as I definitely remember seeing a TV commercial that used that tagline. I've even looked on Reddit, and I couldn't find a photo anywhere. Someone on Reddit said that it might be lost media now. I guess that person is right. If anyone knows where I can find one of these ads, please let me know.
Hello, I have a quick update on this one. I apologize for using a text-to-speech voice. Currently most of the people in my house are asleep while editing this, and I don't want to wake them. I hope you all understand. Anyway, after I recorded these lines, the user u/eatorganicmulch on Reddit recommended I go to 24 Doldrum Drive. I'm a bit embarrassed that I didn't think of this one myself, as I've been on this site before. I recommend going on this site if you're interested in the merchandise and the marketing side of Snicket's work. It kinda reminds me of how Snicket fans don't frequently get merchandise. But when we do, it's pretty good. Anyways, I searched all over this website and I couldn't find a poster with that tagline, but I did find an officially licensed popcorn bag with the tagline "A holiday movie without all that pesky hope and joy." I found out that the film's website had a Christmas parody poem, and I found a video linked on that site that used the tagline "Ruining Xmas." So, it is true that the marketing for this movie had an anti-Christmas theme. Again, I haven't found an ad using this tagline, so if you do have a photo of one, send it to me. Man, 24 Doldrum Drive is such a great website. Wait. Is that the Aflac duck? Yeah, so while searching around this site I found out that this movie had a tie-in with Aflac, the insurance company. This toy duck was given out at the film's premiere, and this promotion got a TV ad with the duck in the wide window part of the film. I don't know, something about this is just off to me. I can't describe it, but it's just off to me, though somehow not the weirdest thing to involve Snicket.
How very, very awful.
Hello.
How unfortunate it would be to not have that insurance. Lemony Snicket's a series of unfortunate events.
Anyway, in the third book in this series, and later in the Netflix adaptation of the third book, the Baudelaires, Mr. Poe, and so-called Captain Sham all go to a restaurant called The Anxious Clown, where they are served by a man called Larry, who accidentally overhears the groups talking about Aunt Josephine that leads him to say his catchphrase,
"I didn't realize this was a sad occasion,"
and after one thing leads to another, greets the Baudelaires on their allergy-infested rush out. In the books, it's very much implied that Larry is likely part of VFD, as the only other book he appears in, the unauthorized biography, has him giving out strange instructions to Snicket. This is one of the few characters who actually appears more in the Netflix show than they do in the books, as Larry appears in 10 episodes of the show's 25 episode run. Usually, he appears during restaurant settings.
VFD 667. This is an official Lemony Snicket YouTube channel. It has 2 trailers and a recap of the first 12 books. Yes, that video was made before the 13th book came out. And that's pretty much it.
But it's not, because there's another official Lella's channel that's more all the one questions focused, that is a choose your own adventure game using black and white stock footage. Link in the description if you want to check it out. Foreign couples. These books have fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, spread across the world with different couples. Some of these are fine, but some of these are not as fine in my opinion. Also, for a fun bonus fact that I'll never get to share anywhere else, but it's been stored in my brain, did you guys know that in Russian-speaking countries, these books are called This, which when translated reads 33 Misfortunes? Even the 2004 film and show translated in Russian has that title. I have had this piece of information in my head for years, and I'm now finally getting it out. All the One Questions suitcases. Suitcases in promotion for the first All the One Questions book were given out at Book Expo America and American Library Association and Conference in 2012. In the UK, these suitcases were given to certain bookstores and schools. These suitcases have different items depending on if you get the UK or US version, but they both come with exclusive, never re-released in-universe items and a booklet with the first 2 chapters of the first book. Also, if you want to pick up one of these today, you better have your own Baudelaire fortune, as they go for quite a lot. Madame de Lustre. Chapter 2 of The Reptile Room ends on, let's just say, a bit of a cliffhanger. At the beginning of the next chapter, our narrator gives apologies, saying he was late for a dinner party hosted by Madame de Lustre. Then we get a description of this person's attributes. If you don't remember this character, I don't blame you, as this person outside of this book only had a small reference made to them in the Grim Grotto, and has not appeared in any visual media adaptations officially. While you could say it was weird for him to describe a character that doesn't have anything to do with the plot of the book, keep in mind this was the same author that gave us a page full of nothing but the same word repeated over and over. And he would later put in 2 pages of complete darkness to simulate falling. Or add another story in the middle of the book. Or add the same page or sentence twice to simulate repetition. Okay, I'll stop for now. I've always liked how these novels have just played with the format of novels by doing more experimental things than other books targeted at the same audience from around that time. Also, knowing Snicket, Madame de Lustre is probably just a nickname for another character. But if not, it's nice to know I found the most obscure Snicket side character, well, besides maybe Ben from the Rats Elevator. Speaking of strange things in books, Secret Letter in the Slippery Slope. It's okay, so I don't really want to spoil these books. This is an Iceberg video, not a recap video. I'll get comments and emails from my original letter telling me how my video is helpful to them while getting into or getting back into the series. Just in case I get that audience again, I have removed major spoilers from this video. Okay? Alright? Okay? In the book, Slippery Slope, there may or may not be a secret letter in it that may or may not be addressed to someone related to someone very important with the story of every novel. This letter may or may not foreshadow later books, like the letters to the editor. But I'll let you guys who haven't read the book read it and find out.
Beatrice. She is the mother of the Baudelaire orphans. She has a love letter written to her by Snicket at the start of every book and Netflix episode. The Baudelaire's parents. This is referring to Bernard and Beatrice Baudelaire. I have no idea why this is so low on the iceberg, but whatever.
Original story concept. In 2019, Daniel Handler was interviewed for the HarperCollins Remember Reading podcast. In this interview, he talks about how the idea for a series of unfortunate events wasn't always about kids being adopted by a mysterious evil man, but about an adult woman marrying a mysterious evil man. Though the reason he changed it is that he just kept thinking, why doesn't she just leave? Which made him think of changing the woman being married to kids being adopted, and you all know the rest.
And we're going to hear from Daniel about how he came up with the idea for a series of unfortunate events in the late 1990s.
I had started this kind of mock Gothic novel for adults, and it wasn't working out very well. And one of the things that was hard to work with was to think about a hero or a heroine of a Gothic novel in kind of the modern age. And that, in a typical Gothic novel, a young woman is married to a mysterious man, and he lives out in the middle of nowhere in a castle, and there's mysterious goings on and she has nowhere to go. And I was trying to write one in kind of a modern era, or at least a non-time frame era. And I kept thinking, why doesn't she just leave? As soon as I began to think, oh, well, if the hero was a child or a group of children, then suddenly you understand perfectly why they're trapped in a scenario. They have no means by which to escape. And that was really interesting to me. So suddenly this mock Gothic novel that I'd been kind of pounding my head against opened up for me. And it made sense to me that it could be a book for children, except that I thought there's no way that a publishing house would want to publish something like this for children.
Staying by the Sea in the Netflix show. In the Carnivor's Carnival Part 1 episode of the Netflix adaptation, there's a very brief dialogue reference to Staying by the Sea.
Complete report on the tragic events that transpired during my apprenticeship at Staying by the Sea.
Staying by the Sea is a town introduced and featured prominently in the All the Wrong Questions novels, so it's nice that they put in this small detail for the fans. Also, while on the topic of this episode, did you guys know that this guy in the audience is actually played by Neil Patrick Harris's real-life husband as a fun little cameo?
The Sugar Bowl. In the books, there is this sugar bowl that Esme is obsessed on getting. People have had theories on what's inside the sugar bowl. The Netflix adaptation gives us the answer that the cure to the Niso metabolism is inside the sugar bowl. But this is in the Netflix series, not the books, and fans still theorize what's inside it. Lemony Snicket. It's funny. We're near the end of this video on Lemony Snicket and we still don't know who he is. Well, what if I told you Lemony Snicket isn't his real name? And his real name is not Patrick Warburton. It's Daniel Handler and... Oh. Wait.
Well, that's the end. I'm glad I went back to update this for you all. I don't know if I'll ever make another Snicket video, and if I do, let's just say don't expect it to come out next week. Iceberg videos to me have always been just a fun way to learn about a topic. It was really fun just going back and just researching for this video. I hope you guys have a lovely time, and I'll see you again whenever I do.
You're wearing a top hat with a door on it.
I'm just an ill-ass Lemony Snicket up in this